sweat, hair, and a high sex drive is just few of the things that I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to being on testosterone. Hey, what's up? My name is Cade, and today I want to tell you some of my worst experiences and changes while being on testosterone. Keep in mind that everybody's body is made completely different, so this is just my experience and some of the things you may relate to. If you can relate to some of the things, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your experience as well. When I was thinking about this video, the first thing that came to mind is my hair. Because unfortunately, especially in the past year, I've had a lot more hair loss. And I've slowly come to terms with it more and more. I have been using this like thickening shampoo that kind of helps it. But when I first started testosterone, this is what my hair looked like. You know, in the front, it was a lot more fluffy and full. Keep in mind though that growing up, I actually did still have thinner hair. It wasn't like balding at all, but it was still like not the thickest. So from the front, I feel pretty good about it, especially at the moment with my facial hair. And after I actually do my hair, it is a lot more thick looking, like as you can see. But before I do my hair, this is what it looks like a lot more. As you can see, it's a lot more fluffy, and unfortunately, the worst part that I think for myself is the back. Here's a photo of what my hair looks like from the back. And unfortunately, you know, it's a part of life. Being on testosterone, that's one of the possible changes that may happen to you, is hair loss. And so it's about what is worth it to you, and testosterone is absolutely worth it to me. Another part that I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to being on testosterone is how hot I run, like all the time. It's a little bit nicer when it comes to the winter because I live in Utah and it is pretty freaking cold during the winter time. So with it being cooler and I'm running like an oven, it's like, it's all right. Plus my babe likes to cuddle up with me, so it works that way. But the downside is, especially with summer coming around, I still run hot like an oven. And when there's heat, there's gonna be sweat. Yeah, I was expecting to be sweating a lot more after I started testosterone, but I sweat like everywhere. Even on like the back of my hands, I sweat. I sweat, of course, on my armpits, my back, my chest, even on my feet. My feet, actually, that's like my biggest difference I've noticed is before I started testosterone, my feet like never used to sweat at all. Now it's so bad. Like my feet just sweat so much. And I think like the first year of testosterone was the very worst. I had to like throw out a few pairs of shoes because the sweat is not like just a lot of sweat. It's pretty freaking terrible smelling too. Like, it's bad. And speaking of bad smelling sweat, it all around just getting more of a stinky smell. And I think this is more of like I don't like it because I don't like to smell stinky, but I do like the fact that like my smell changed to more of a masculine scent, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you experienced that as well. I know a few guys talk about that, but still, I'm not like, this is just something that I experienced as well, so let me know in the comments. Enough with talking about being stinky, let's talk about acne. So acne, I'm not a huge fan of it personally. It is not only uncomfortable, but I just don't like the way it looks, and like it's all red and inflamed. And something that like before testosterone, during my first puberty, I like had such clear skin, like almost no zits at all. After starting testosterone though, like there were some here and there, especially on my face, and especially when I was binding, I had a lot of zits like on my chest and back. Some of the zits on my chest got slowly better after I had top surgery, but the thing is, it is still so bad. Like I have acne on my back, acne on my chest, acne on my shoulders. Like, seriously, it's fine. Especially acne on my face and neck. The one upside about getting acne around this part of my face is usually with acne around this part, it tends to be like a new black hair coming up being like, hey, I'm here to shine finally. And so originally I didn't have as many like patches of zits like the first year or so on testosterone, because I didn't really grow a lot of facial hair for a while. It was just super peach fuzz, so I just shaved it off like every other day. And for like zits on my face, it just goes through waves of patches of just a bunch of zits that come out of nowhere. Like about a year ago, especially where my sideburns are now there, it was so bad. And now around this area, like my neck area, I didn't have a lot of hair there, and there's still not a lot, but it's I'm not feeling good about how zitty it is right now. It's all right, but I know it will turn into thick black hairs soon. And speaking of thick black hairs, another thing that I'm not a huge fan of is body hair. Of course, I love body hair in some parts, like my chest and my stomach. I think that's super nice and sexy, as well as on my legs. I even like my arm hair. What I'm not a huge fan of is the hair that goes up my hands, on my knuckles, on my feet, on my toes. I'm not gonna show you my feet though. I even have some light hairs on my back. I'm like, oh no. And worst of all, hair on my ass. I did not have any ass hair before testosterone, and that's one of the first places it started to grow hair. I'm like, why? It's just so furry. I've shaved it even before because I'm like, I hate how hairy it is. I don't recommend you shave though. I don't recommend it. One thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and I noticed after taking testosterone, is my temper. And I think a huge part of it is I do not let people walk over me, and I stand up for myself now, but I still I get more heated. I'm working on it, of course. Everyone can work on their temper, but I noticed though that is a definite change. And then the one that a lot of you seem to want to know about is the sex drive change. My sex drive is constantly through the roof, and it's super annoying. If you want to see my full video talking more in depth about my high sex drive and what my frustrations are around that, check out the video I'm going to show you in a moment. Thanks for watching. Peace.